I'm going to say less recoil and less vibration and even quieter.
That's crazy.
Than the past with the perimeter weighting. Look at you, you're questioning
How
me.
in the hell is that possible?
Right? So here's the thing. There's nobody that bow hunts that didn't crack an animal in the shoulder and watch it run away with, 25 inches of arrow hanging out.
Sure.
Happens. Don't shoot stuff in the leg. I think I went on 8 Canadian moose hunts and never drew my bow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to do a spot and stalk on a polar bear, long story short. I appreciate what you do.
Well, mine all started from watching what brands were claiming and then playing with it and being like, there's nothing, it's not even close to that. And then I called ATA and said, you guys have standards for their testing and stuff, right? And like, oh yeah, we got standards. And I'm like, is anyone checking these things? Like, no, we don't have a budget for that. I'm like, oh, all right, well.
I'm on the board for ATA, and and we're on the, Mark's on the committee, the standards committee, and that kind of thing. But the standards committee it used to be Dave Holt, Norm Mulaney, Gary Simons. I mean, there were some really good engineers and input on the whole ATA standards thing. Mm-hmm. I got a little bit lax. It kind of blew up and got backburnered and tabled for a few years. Mm-hmm. And so they're revisiting it maybe a bit now. But, the standards, it was more about hole placement and thread size and that kind of thing. Anything. Making
sure you're using the approved rest positions, sight positions, all that stuff. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, it seemed like it was needed, so I did it. And now it's turned into something that was way bigger than I expected it to be. I just wanted to try to have some accountability and stop the number of customers that would come in asking questions about more rudimentary questions about products, like how fast is this bow, what does this one weigh, etc. That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, at all. It saved our people immense amounts of time of not having to go through all the stats of each one and whatnot. They all seen it, so it was a huge time saver for us.
The other thing as a manufacturer is a real benefit to not have there's a couple that people look to that they trust and believe in. Mm-hmm. And there's 100 that I just shake my head when they're doing the review. I'm like, no, don't do that to our bow. That's not how it's tested. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have somebody that understands and knows what they're doing.
Mm. Yeah. The good part about him too is him being impartial and not taking a bunch of brand deals from people that he would be like, man, I really love Mathews as a company. It'd be really tempting to do a brand deal with
I had to make that decision a little while back. It's no different than I've had just accessory companies or broadhead companies or whatnot trying to affiliate, and I'm just like, no, I can't do that. I'm happy to give you input. Yeah, I'll give you input, and I don't want anything. I don't want a contract for helping design anything. I don't want any of that. No, just you want my input, I'll give it to you. And what I'm going to think is going to make something better than the next. I just want product better. And that's what I've always wanted. I was like, how do we make the best product possible? And how can we improve it and push it going forward? Because I have a mechanical mind and I look at things and go, well, why did you do that? How come you did it that way? That kind of thing. Yeah. Just how my brain sees stuff. And I never looked at that from a monetary thing. And nor do I think it should be, or at least somebody shouldn't be monetarily incentivized.
It kind of is, though, monetary for you because you have the trust of the people. They then go use discount code BMAC for 10% off at podiumarcher.com to buy.
He's so good at the transition.
The stuff.
He's just so smooth. It's almost like he's a salesman.
Did you like that?
That was good. I like it.
Welcome to the Podium Archer podcast, everybody. Follow Josh at all the social media platforms at Podium Archer. Follow me on Instagram at @BrandonMcDonald_archery. Like and subscribe to this channel, please. I'm not going to bother everybody during the entire conversation because we have a very important person sitting here with us.
Very much so.
Who has been in the industry for a long time and has a lot of badass stories about hunting and all those types of things. I don't want to interject a lot.
Just keep your mouth shut. You got your one plug and knock it off.
All right, cool, perfect. All right, what's the thing that people are supposed to do?
And any audio platform you go to, please leave a review. It helps us more than you know, and it's about the only way the public can see the popularity of a podcast. There's no other real way to see it. We can see things on the back end that show how often we're getting downloaded, that kind of thing, but the reviews are what most people go off of to see the significance of something. So please leave a review. We really appreciate it. And we have Mathews employee 001, Joel Maxfield, with us. Joel is a tester, tweaker, loves playing with stuff, etc. He's a lot like myself in that regard, and he has completed the North American Super Slam as well. Is that correct? Yes. All with a rage.
Except one.
Yeah, except one. All right, got a one. So
go back.
Well, what I'd love to hear more than anything before we start talking about product or changes or anything like that is like, no one would or there's very few people that would know the history of Mathews probably better than you, because you've been there since basically inception.
Sure.
How did that happen realistically? Like, how did it end up what it is today?
Gosh, that's a long story.
We're here.
I know what time your flight is. We got plenty of time. We aren't going anywhere. We've had some long ones, and they've been the best ones we've had. So go nuts. You know, there is no schedule or time here.
Well, we had Matt had McPherson Archery.
Yeah.
And he had a couple of business partners, and his business partners were from Austin, Minnesota, our local town. And that's where I grew up. And I had a bow shop. I managed a bow shop, and then I owned a bow shop for years in Austin, Minnesota. And he moved McPherson there, and then, you know, so we were pretty good friends, manufacturer bow shop in the same town, you know, kind of deal. And then he sold McPherson, and when he sold McPherson, I had closed my bow shop, and I went to work for McPherson. And then McPherson sold, and it moved down to Alabama, so my wife was working there as well, so me and my wife moved it to Alabama, and, you know, I'm a northern boy, so I was going to go back to Minnesota. So I went back to Minnesota, and
the deer are a little different in Minnesota than they are in
a lot
Alabama.
better deer. Yeah, exactly. And they, you know, when we got back to Austin, Matt come over to the house, and he said, "Man, I'm gonna start another one. I'm gonna do something different, and here's what I got." You know, at the time, there's material issues and design issues, and synchronization was a huge deal. It was hard to keep cams in sync because of the string material.
Oh, I'd go shoot 30 arrows and have to go back to the bow press and retime my bow again. You couldn't keep a bow time.
What year are we talking about here?
Early 90s.
This is
late
like
80s,
late 80s.
Okay. Late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They actually, like at the IBO shoots, a lot of guys would bring like 3 bows. You know, and the minute it started impacting off, you grab your
backup bow. Yeah. Fast flight. You got to love it.
It was fast flight.
100%. It was this. Yeah. It just never stopped stretching.
And so the solution to the problem that we came up with Matt came up with was the single cam. Yeah. It couldn't go out of sync. You know, everything was working off one axle. So it worked out really, really good. And it was a perfect solution to a pretty big problem at the time. Mm-hmm. So that's where Mathews started, and that's where it took off. And, you know, we had a little tagline or slogan, "Someday all bows will be single cams," you know, and for a while, true statement. I mean, literally everything was single cams because we fought it so bad. Well, as materials developed and you know, things came along to alleviate the problem, then timing and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it took, so in your first year was 1992, where you were established brand selling to shops, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think if I remember right, it took till either 99 or 2000, I want to say, I think it was Hoyt was like the last one that didn't make a single cam, and then finally made a single cam.
Yeah.
I think it was 99 or 2000, somewhere in there when it came. So you started in 92 with a new cam design that nobody had ever seen, and it took 7 years for everyone to give up and say, we have to make this.
Right.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Pretty accurate?
Pretty accurate.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It just worked good. You know?
Well, at the time, I mean, you did resolve the biggest problem that we'd had in archery, which has easily been resolved now by just having better string material, right?
Material is huge.
Material is huge, and it was just flat garbage.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it didn't just randomly snap and break. It just kept giving and giving. Well, and the process in which they made it was another thing entirely. And assembly of strings, all that's so much different now. But to go over a 7-year period of time that everyone simply has to accept something completely different, that in itself is amazing. When you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? From something not existing. I don't recall. Now, granted, I've been in archery since, oh God, I think I've been shooting a bow since I was like 6, and my dad always had a shop, right? So from like the 85, 86, I was cognizant of what existed product-wise, right? I don't ever remember seeing a brand show up and change everything and make everybody do something differently in my life. And I still don't think I've seen that.
I can tell you a story about that.
Oh
it's pretty
boy,
cool.
I love this.
So we had this, it was funny. We, as you can imagine, just a few people working out of an abandoned body shop that we renovated into a factory, kind of deal. We were having a great time, and we'd build a handful of bows a day, and I would grab the bows and put them in my little truck and drive 20 miles to a UPS thing, and I'd hand fill out all the tags, COD. You had to pay COD.
I remember that. That was annoying. That was very annoying.
We'd send them out COD, and I'd literally have to drive them to the UPS center. But anyways, I came in one morning, and we had renovated this old alarm, and it was one of those big spiral things that starts to ramp up, and it's like a tornado siren. It gets super loud. We had renovated that to the door, so when you open the door, that thing would start to ramp up, and it was super loud. You could hear it, all across town, and you had to run over and shut that off. That was the alarm system, So I opened the door, and that alarm starts to go off, and I shut it off. And the phone is on the wall, and the phone's ringing. So I'm like, I run over there, and I had a little clipboard by the phone because we were all doing everything. There was probably 3-4 of us at the time, and we were all doing all parts. I grabbed the phone, and I'm, hey, Mathews Incorporated, what can I do for you? And the guy says, I need to order a couple bows. I'm like, oh, sweet, okay. And I mean, every single bow was a huge deal. Still is a huge deal, but every single bow order was a big, big deal. So I handwrite this order on the clipboard, and I hang it up. I hang the phone up, and the phone's ringing. I'm like, hello? And they're like, hey, this is, Aiken Sales. I need to order a couple bows. So I'm like, okay. So I'm, write up another order, and I hang the clipboard up, and I hang the phone up, and the phone's ringing. I'm like, whoa. I mean, this is already more than we get in like a week. So I answered the phone. It was crazy. Yeah. It was crazy. I stood right there, and the phone rang every single time I hung it up. And we're already, I mean, this is a year and a half in.
Yeah.
Kind of the deal. And
ironically, I think that's when we started carrying was 94.
Oh, see there.
I think it was 1994 when we started carrying.
Yeah, your dad was one of the ones.
No
on the
way.
phone right there.
So, I was a child.
And Matt comes through the door, and he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, this is crazy. You're not going to believe it. I've already written, I don't know, dozen bows or whatever in the first 5 minutes. Hang up the phone, and it rings again, and it was crazy. And so by about noon, we had written a ton of orders. I mean, a ton being like 25 or 30, kind of deal. But for us at the time, it was a big deal.
Sure.
And I'm like, man, and it's like a Wednesday, like a random day. And, Matt says, brother, hang on to your hat. He says, I think this is no longer in our control. God's got this one. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly never really even slowed down from that day. I mean, there's been some ups and downs, but
sure.
It's been really good since that day. I mean, literally, I can pin it to that day.
Wow, that's
for
awesome.
me anyway, in my mind.
Yeah,
but
yeah. And so how difficult was the transition in going away from single cam for a company that was established as a single cam company, right? Like this is the way, right? And then as the trend shifted back in a different direction, which, mind you, eloquent solution that you went to from what you were at. I mean, it was smart. Like I don't know if anybody, I don't know if anybody ever had made anything remotely close to that before, to where you're no longer hardened to the axle with a dual cam, which basically they don't like to use that term, but it's similar and dissimilar as far as not attached to a hard, strict thing, so you don't get that weird, funky back wall thing. So how hard was it to make
systems?
Right no, there's really not.
Well, right now you got binary, cam and a half, single cam, ABS. Yep. I mean, it's pretty limited.
Yeah,
but the transition actually went pretty easy. The single cam was an interesting deal because Matt's incredible. Matt is a very, very good engineer, and he understands camming and gets all that. And we've always had incredible efficiency. We've always had a real high level of efficiency out of the bows. Mm-hmm. So even though the single cam couldn't store as much energy, we could deliver it more efficiently because of Matt. Matt knew exactly what to do and where things worked on the draw force curve and that kind of thing. Well, the 2-cam can store more energy. The only thing you can do to get speed, and back then there was a little bit of a speed race, and the only thing you could do to get speed is store it or deliver it more efficient. That's the only two things you can do to get speed. And so what we always were really, really, really good at was making it incredibly efficient. And so going to the 2-cam, we could store more and make it more efficient. But you remember the days of all the Accelerate and the full throttle and the Orion. I mean, those were some fast bows, and that was, man, that was like 18 years ago or something like that. I mean, it was a long time ago that we were, we and all the manufacturers were really drilling the speed thing and going after the speed. It was kind of funny for a few years there after that, people got over the speed thing real quick. And we never did that well with speed bows. I mean, we could build them, but we just couldn't sell them that well. Other companies sold a lot of speed bows, but we always focused on a culmination of feel and accuracy and speed and kind of all that stuff. But anyways, the speed bow trend really, really faded away, kind of deal. You don't see that much of it now. But what I always looked at it, like we'd obtain a speed, like, oh man, if we can get 320, and we'd get the speed, and then it took a couple of years, but we'd make that speed shootable. It'd feel good. Like it was a good experience. It, low vibration, low recoil. The speed was, became shootable. And then all of a sudden somebody would make 330. And it's like, yeah, okay, we got 330. But it sucked to shoot. So we'd do what we could to make it more shootable and enjoyable and a better experience. So it's kind of like the benchmark of the speed thing kind of kept going. And, then it kind of got to the 340-ish range. And that's a good experience, and that's some solid speed. That's really a fast bow. And, it's a good experience to shoot. It's not like pulling a seized-up lawnmower. It's
Yeah, no, like today's day and age of that speed, it's in something in most bows that's very pleasant. It really is. It's amazing that you've gotten it to that point to where there's not like big awkward humps or anything, or like pulling a lawnmower. Great example. It's how they used to really feel. It was just like so hard to get it moving, and now it's like it. But I think that's also a transition of everybody kind of working their little more aggressive into it. Right. Sure. So almost everything that you're comparing feels very similar. Like if you take a bow from 15 years ago and compare it to today's, they don't feel similar at all. But I think we're all just used to it. But it is definitely way smoother than some of those earlier things.
Sure.
Way more comfortable to get through.
What's also interesting is the way speed pushed the need for different innovations. So everybody would chase speed up and then want to make a more shootable platform. So speed became the thing that was then driving the rest of the innovations to handle noise, to handle vibration, to handle hand shock, all those kinds of things.
True story.
So what's doing that now? Because everybody's right around the same point. It's 340, 350 is advertised speeds pretty much across the board. Like, what is driving the innovation now?
It's really, that's why we use the word. It's really experience. It's the experience of shooting the bow. I mean, and that has a lot to do with efficiency. I mean, efficiency is work in, work out. So, if you make it more enjoyable to draw and has less recoil and that kind of thing, it's just more enjoyable all around. It's a better experience. It feels nice and it just shoots nice. And I think that's the race is to get it to the most enjoyable experience possible.
Okay.
And maintain the speed.
Yeah, I mean, because nobody's going to go down. Like if you guys drop down into 310 advertised speed, at the same ratio that everybody else is advertising IBO speed, then Mathews is going to you would probably lose some ground just from new archers coming in and being like, I'm not going to shoot this because I perceive that value equals speed. I'm getting a better value out of a bow that's shooting faster. Why would I even pick up a Mathews if it was advertised at 310?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We've talked about this a lot. Just what's gonna drive.
I guess the thing would be is, the speed issue. We were there. I mean, literally. I mean, I think that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that stuff was like 18 years ago. That was the Accelerate and and that some of that.
No,
stuff.
you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
We were there. We were hit. I mean, there was bows shooting 360. I mean, it was happening.
Yeah, the whole Monster series was like the bastard child of your catalog because you like shoved it way in the back. And I was looking at this whole marketing thing because you still got all these single cam bows and whatnot, and you got to keep flipping, and then the McPherson Monster series. I was like, they don't want this to work. Like, this is in the back of the catalog. Like, what's going on here? Meanwhile, that's all I had. Like, I was like, rip, that's me. Give me those. And I shot the crap out of those things, and they shot really good.
They did.
But it was funny. It was like that first year of transition of kind of like, okay, here's your dual cam bow. It went on for a few years there before it just like, I'm still trying to remember what year it was.
It was the Reason and the Monster that hit the same year. We did both. We made. I
was more meaning what year was it? The first year that you didn't make a single cam bow. I'm trying to remember because it was like it seemed like there was
take long. It was only a couple years.
I thought there was still like 2 years where there was still like this is the McPherson series dual cams with single cams, and then I remember the first time I opened the catalog or got the first one, I went, oh, it's only double cam.
We went all in on the ABS.
ABS, sorry, I know that's a bad term. I'm old. You got to give me a little bit of a break. That everything was double cam when I started, so it's like I'm looking at that. I'm going, yeah, that's what that is.
But that is crazy to think about. Like you guys branded yourself as a thing, and then all of a sudden, when you realize, like, ooh, whatever, maybe string material got better, so you said we don't have to do this anymore, and there is a better way. But you were quickly willing to pivot, and then. Yeah, transition into.
Or with really good string material, it can be reintroduced into some things like that with some tweaks.
We've had the fastest bow on the planet a few different years. You know, we had, and one of the years was like a Black Max. I don't remember from the Black Max.
Oh, very, yeah. Well, actually, brief little quick story. I was young once again. I was pulling bows back and testing them out in the Outdoor Sportsman, which was our original store. And my hands were sweating. I pulled a Black Max back and slid out of my hand and hit me in the face.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got the cable guard like right there. It's like, you're this close to having a one-eyed MFJJ.
No. Oh, that would be awesome.
Because that back wall was so quick and in and out. Yeah. It literally hit the back wall and my hand was slick enough. It just slipped right off the grip and boom.
That would look good with an eye patch.
I think
right
it was
there.
right? It would be on brand. I'm pretty sure I think we weren't open, thank God, at the time. I was laying in the middle of the floor with a fucking bow on the ground. Not one of my shiniest moments, but anyway, yes, that was absolutely the fastest thing at the time.
They're the same year. I think there was a Black Knight or something, Bowtech or something had a Black Knight, same kind of time frame era. But what happened is, so single cams couldn't store the energy up front. So there's at no point could a single cam compete with an ABS system or a dual cam because we couldn't store the energy. We were winning all those years because of efficiency, not because we could store it, because we couldn't store it. The front end, that's why they felt so nice. The front end just couldn't peak that fast. And so we got to the point where we realized that, hey, we need to store some more energy, and the single cam system just simply doesn't allow us to do it. So in order to store the more energy, we needed a system that would alleviate the problems of synchronization and timing and still, store more energy. So that's where the ABS came in.
Yeah.
Is Matt the one that's driving that innovation early on? Like, is he the one that's kind of like looking at all this stuff with some sort of engineering background and saying like, hey, I think it's time. I think we can move over into this.
Yeah. He's seen it, he's seen it coming. The speed race was, we were winning it with the Black Max, but we knew that they would eventually figure it out because they were storing way more energy than we were.
Yeah.
So like they could store the energy, and we realized that, hey, if we could store that energy and give it our efficiency, we could smoke this bow. And so therefore we had to go to the ABS to be able to store the energy.
Got it.
Then we, started working on efficiencies again.
Yeah, super interesting. Yeah. I want to ask about the Grand Slam, but I mean, do you want to stick with Mathews for a little while longer?
No, you're good with it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well,
I think that's a relatively good entry history of that.
Yeah. I just think
and how we got to here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Well, would you tell a little bit about your going about doing the Grand Slam? I'm curious how you make the decision that that's what you want to do, and then how you actually go about executing.
Super Slam, not
Super
Grand
Slam.
Slam.
Sorry. Super
There's
Slam.
a Grand Slam too.
I know. You got both though, but Super Slam's the highest part of that. So Don't sell the man short.
I'm sorry.
You know what's kind of funny is it was never a goal. That was Chuck Adams, absolute hero in the 80s, you know, still is. But in my bow shop, I had Chuck Adams posters all over the place and the Super Slam XX78s and all the arrows. And, you know, it was really cool. Huge inspiration.
Still got a signed poster from him for that world record bull he had at one point. Yeah, and he was there that year, and I have
all the posters, the books. Yeah. I love the guy. So then, he's still super avid, still getting it done,
still getting after it.
But, you know, I kind of always knew about it, but I've always just hunted a ton, and you know, on my own or you know, traveling. My brother was a I would say inspiration, but I would more say he's a troublemaker for me in my life, because he would be like, dude, I booked a caribou camp. We're going caribou hunting in August. I mean, I'd be like, how? You know, and somehow we'd always pull it together, and he'd always plan these adventures and tell me I was going, and then I had to try to find the money to go. But anyway, so along the line, we did a lot of bow hunting, like all over the place. My senior year of high school, I skipped 5 weeks for bow hunts, you know. So
yeah, boy, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I think I got called in the office more than once for the number of days. I was like, if you miss one more day, you're not passing. Like, my grades are fine. It's like, doesn't matter. So, right, I feel you.
So, you know, I guess, you know, I had a lot of stuff going, you know, I mean, we bow hunted a lot. And so, anyways, a friend of mine, Darren Collins, who's a pro shooter, and, you know, I've always admired, he was number 8. He was Super Slammer number 8.
Yeah.
And, just an absolute killer, super cool guy, very, very good shooter. I mean, he's a competitive national champion, in open and in senior. But he, anyway, we were at lunch, and he's like, you got stuff. What do you got? I'm like, I don't know. I never really looked. And we started going, he pulled up the Super Slam thing, went through the list, and I had at that point maybe 16 of them already just by accident. And then I said, well, I'm never going to get to the Super Slam. That was like a pipe dream. That's never going to happen. But so I thought, well, I had like 4 of the caribou. So I thought, well, man, if I get that caribou, I can say that I got all the caribou. You know, that's something, you know. So I got, you know, I was able to get a caribou, and I had all 5 caribou, and I'm like, woohoo, you know.
Yeah.
Got it. Then I'd be like, well, there's 5 deer, and I've got 4 of the deer. Maybe I'll go get a coos deer, you know. So
so coos was your last deer?
Actually, the last deer was a, that's not true. Yeah, I got a coos first, and then the last deer was a blacktail, Columbia blacktail.
Okay. Blacktail.
So, anyway, so I just started picking them off like that, just like group by group, you know, kind of deal. And pretty soon I got to the, you know, I got down on the list. I was 20 plus or whatever. And I was talking with my wife, and we went to the SCI show, and obviously on that list is a polar bear, and they're super expensive.
Yep.
So I went and I talked to buddies that were outfitters up there, and they take a lot of guys, and they hit me with a number that I'm just like, oh, and I still had some sheep, and this polar bear is huge money. And I'm like, golly, I'll probably never make
Can't
it.
pull it.
I'm going to back out. Yeah. So I didn't book the polar bear hunt. She was supportive. I mean, she was into it, but I'm like, this doesn't make any sense at all. So I didn't book the polar bear hunt or anything, and I'm turkey hunting in Nebraska on like March 25th, and Darren Collins calls me on my cell phone, and I got turkey decoys and bags and stuff for this Darren. So I'm like, hello. He's like, Joel, I just booked you a polar bear hunt. He says, you got to get your crap ready because it's just in a few days. I'm like, you what? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just found a polar bear hunt. 2 guys from Norway backed out. It's for 2 bears, 2 guys. And, you know, can you go? And I'm like, gosh, I don't know. He says, you'll never beat the deal. This is a smoking good price. It's crazy. And it was. And so I'm like, well, this is way less than half of what it was at SCI show. It was 2 bears. So I'm like, let let me work this angle. So I call my brother and I'm like, dude, we're going to go polar bear hunting next week.
There you go.
And he's like,
smart fella
right here.
Yeah. There you go.
And he's like, oh yeah, I'm in. And so we went up there. And then at that point, to answer your question, at that point, when you have a polar bear and you've got 20 other things, everything else is going to give way. I'll sell my truck, my house, whatever. I'll do what I got to do to get their ass, you know. And so then it went pretty good on the rest.
Tell me more about the polar bear hunt, because so I don't know why I'm obsessed with bears, and I've decided I want to do all the bears. So polar bear has to be on the list.
Yeah.
Tell me about the polar bear hunt.
Highly recommend. I love the Arctic. I love it up there. I've been up, muskox polar bears, but I've been up there probably 3-4 times, and I just absolutely love the Arctic. It's beautiful. It is crazy beautiful. And, Minnesota northern guy, they're like, oh, you need this special stuff. I showed up with my insulated Carhartts and, but they, it's really, really cool. And I was blessed on that polar bear hunt because you have to go with the dog sled. You have to do it in traditional ways with the Indian village, and they're allocated so many permits, and then they reallocate the permit to you. It's a big deal. It's hard to. The paperwork is incredible, and the travel, and the logistics of it is crazy. But anyway, you're better to have somebody line it all up for you and do all this stuff. So we get up there and we take off on snowmobiles. We're like 70 miles out on the ocean, and we're late. This is like May, and so the ice is starting to break up and that kind of thing. And they call it a flow edge, and we'd be ripping along on a snowmobile, and there's like 300 feet of water 10 feet over there, but the flow edge ice there might be 30 foot thick. You just don't want to go off. And anyways, we're out there and we would find a bear and we'd offload the dog sled, or we'd find a track. We'd offload the dog sled and the dogs, and they'd hook up 8-10 dogs to the sled. And the sled is a piece of plywood about the size of this table with a couple sliders on it. And I'm trying to balance and sit on that thing. And the dogs take off after the bear, and they hit the track and they run. You'd eventually see it out on the ice. And we got close enough to a couple of them that the dogs were fighting. They cut a couple dogs loose, and they run out to the bear. And the dogs that is attached to your sled, they want to join in the fight. And so they're fighting the bear while they're attached to your sled. So, I mean, it's tight and all that kind of. So I got to experience all that. But the bears that we were on the sled and the dogs just weren't bears that we were looking to harvest, So we'd call the dogs off and all that. And so we get another track, and this one's really big. And we let the dogs out, and they chase them into these ice heaves. And so there's these giant ice heaves that are like 30 foot tall, these big slabs of ice that are all slammed together. And the tracks go into the ice heaves, and we circled it. It's about the size of a football field. And we circled it, and there's no tracks leaving it. So we know he's in there. So me and this young kid that was part of the village, we go in there. He's got a 25-06 with like it's like an inner arms. He's got like a Tasco scope on it, and it's a 25. That's our backup. So he and I go in there, and we spot the bear, and he spots us at kind of at the same time, and he just like drops down and takes off, trying to get away, or it was never a charge.
Well, I mean, was he bedded, or was he just kind of milling around up there? What was he doing?
I think he heard us, and so he was in the ice heaves trying to like hide.
Oh, okay. So I got it.
It was
that
kind of
sense.
an escape.
Yep.
And so we just kept cat and mousing through the ice heaves or whatever. And then, I got to do a spot and stalk on a polar bear, long story short. So, and then I crawled up on the top one of those ice heaves so I could see down. And bears are funny. Bears they think that they're hidden when they're not hidden. You can get a 300-pound black bear that'll get behind a sapling this big around. There's this much bear sticking out, and he's like, "Can't see me, I'm hidden." Well, I couldn't help but think of how black bears react with this polar bear, because he's in this big crevice, and he sticks his head inside this crevice. His whole body's sticking out. He's like, his head's in there like he's hiding or whatever, and he's like 60 yards, which is long for a polar bear, but Bo was hammering. So his body's sticking out, and I hit him the first time, and he started spinning in circles, and it was scary as all get out, the roaring and just craziness going on. So I knocked another arrow, and he's spinning, and I shot again, and it hit right beside the first one, and both were good, and he just tipped over. But yeah, so I got to spawn stalk him, which is kind of a dream come true.
Yeah, that's incredible. So polar bears are absolutely enormous for people that don't know. So like when he's standing up, how high was the one that you measured? Well, I guess did you measure him?
Stand up?
No. I guess do they? I would assume they measure polar bears the same way, nose to tail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get a nose to tail measurement on it?
So here's the deal: it's 50 below zero, and so that thing is going to freeze like that. So these guys, like the people that you're with up there, are so good at what they do. I mean, I got to snap a few pictures, and it was like a Ginsu commercial. They go in there and they're skinning and cutting, and the thing is done in like 10 minutes, because otherwise it's froze solid. I mean, they scun this thing record time and all that kind of thing, and then we don't get them back.
Yeah.
There's I think 42 bears, if I'm correct, that were in Canada that can't come into the United States, that were all legit and had permits, and they still haven't got those bears back yet. So I mean, when that law took place, or whatever. So the people that have done it since, it's in Ottawa. I mean, I tanned it and I have it in storage in Ottawa, and likely never get it back.
You call Don Jr. He'll get some stuff worked out for you.
You know what's funny about that? Anywhere else in the world, you can be from other countries and take it home with you. No big deal.
Yeah.
It's just a U.S. It's not a Canadian thing. It's not a Nunavut thing. It's a U.S. thing.
Yeah, that's super weird.
Yeah.
That's such a cool story.
Yeah.
Our country does do some dumb things.
Well, there's lots of, I mean, like when I went and hunted New Zealand, they just, why are you only going to let me bring 50 pounds of meat back? Like, that's just crazy. Go kill a 700-pound animal, and then, here you go. Here's your 50 pounds. That's all you can bring back. It just seems so, I don't know, just so wasteful. I know they use it for other stuff. It's just stupid. Personal use only. Like, make me mark the meat, and I'm not going to go resell it, but like, let me figure out how to get a bunch more of it back. And I know it's expensive and all that stuff, but like, yeah, I hate that. It just seems like there's a bunch of stupid rules that are in place when it comes to that kind of thing.
All right. Yeah, I don't disagree. There's all kinds of challenges with bringing stuff back from other places. It's kind of stupid, but
there's a lot of horror stories where guys don't even get stuff back. I know guys that didn't get desert sheep back. And stuff. I mean, it can be tricky.
Killer.
My brother never got a Asian water buffalo back from Argentina back in the day. I mean, it can be tricky to get stuff back, but.
Did you have one animal in the Super Slam that gave you trouble that you had to?
Yes, I did, and it was the easiest thing.
I was hoping this was going to be the case. It was a stupid turkey down in Alabama.
So my brother, like I said, he's an avid bowhunter as well. Well, he took and he drew a Minnesota moose tag, their Canadian moose in Minnesota, and we grew up there as kids. And when I don't know. This had been maybe early 80s, something like that. He drew a Minnesota moose tag. And he went up there with a black widow bow and stuff, and he shot what at the time was a state record Minnesota moose with a wood arrow and a recurve. Super cool.
So cool.
And it was it was once every 10 years when he drew the first time. And then 2 years later it became once in a lifetime. Well, when his 10 years were up, he applied for the once-in-a-lifetime tag and drew that. So he killed two really good archery moose in Minnesota, which is, now it's impossible. You couldn't do that. But so anyways, and we see moose all the time fishing. We're around moose all the time, right? So I'm by Ontario. So I'm like, well, it's, when I graduated high school, I'm like, I want to shoot a moose. So I kept going to Canada. I think I went on 8 Canadian moose hunts and never drew my bow.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah.
Brutal. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was
brutal.
It was brutal. But Tom Miranda, I hooked him up with the buddy that I shot my moose with when he shot his moose for his Super Slam. I think he was on multiple 5 or something like that. I mean, it's not that difficult of a hunt. But man, if they ain't there, they ain't there.
Yeah, if they're not there, they're not there. And then your wife starts looking at you after, maybe not your wife because it sounds like but my wife would be like, "We've been 4 times now. Really, number 5's going to get it done? This dream might have to die with you, son."
Like, apparently, you're bad at this.
She does think that. She thinks
I have no doubt.
But
What's the big deal?
But the moose was, unfortunately, it wasn't a sheep or something crazy that I had trouble with,
Yeah.
And then my Yukon moose, it was do it yourself. I ran into a guy at a tournament. He said, "Hey dude, you want to hunt Alaska for moose?" I'm like, "Sure." And so I just went up there with him and we flew in and both shot great bulls and caribou and everything, just all DIY. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
And I killed out the first 3 days, I think. So it's just the Canadian moose is where I got hung up.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I had to go back a couple times for grizzly and a couple times for brown bear and stuff. I mean, it's hunting, right? So,
Yeah.
Not a given, but no, the moose was a definite obstacle. And when I seen the arrow kind of disappear in that Canadian, I'm like, yes, yeah, finally.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
It's minimally like 2 months of hunting if you think about that, because it's like 8 trips, a week per trip minimum.
Oh yeah.
Well,
That's
and now
amazing.
it's the money too. That's the thing. Now it's
That's a very expensive hunt nowadays.
Oh yeah, crazy.
All of it is, but all of it used to sound really expensive to me because I never did any of it. I just couldn't justify it, and now I'm really regretting that horribly because I've gotten to the point that it's just so expensive, but I still really want to do a lot of it.
Yeah.
God, I just wish I did it when I was younger and I figured out a way.
Tons of that stuff. Everything that I could possibly do, tons of it. I'd just sleep in my back seat, go on my own, and just, nothing against outfitters whatsoever. And part of it you have to be outfitted for. But I did as much of it as I could with either my brother and I or just on my own. I just, like, if I was chasing some kind of weird species, he'd be like, "Nah, I'm good. You go."
Seek a deer, huh?
Yeah,
not that interested.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, a lot of the stuff down here in the States, I just went and hunted.
I mean, you're not a spring chicken. Is this a thing that you look back in your life? Just
Such a nice guy, Brandon.
Well, no, this is going to be complimentary.
We're getting there.
Is this a thing that you look back on your life and you're like, I am so glad I spent my time doing this?
Oh yeah, I mean, Well, I mean, I'd do it again. So I mean, it was awesome. All the adventures and all the stuff, and I still do the adventures. This in June we were down in Argentina and shot Asian water buffalo and New Zealand, and I still travel and do some hunts, and those little deer, the Columbia blacktail, the Coues deer, the Sitka deer, that's a blast. I love that stuff, so I'll go again.
Yeah. I just wonder if there's a lot of people that they spend a lot of their lives chasing money, and then they end up in a spot where they can't physically go do a lot of the hunts. And that's why I like to bring up, you slept in your truck, and when you were a younger man, you were just out.
Still do that.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. But you were willing to sacrifice time where other people, I think, might say, no, it's more important that I stay here and focus on the business or try to grow this or try to whatever. And then they get to be older men and they go, man, I really regret and will never get the opportunity to go back and do some of these hunts.
The sacrifice, that's a great word when it comes to Super Slam. Sacrifice was huge financially, commitment, physically. I'm mentally pretty dang tough and just the no quit, no, don't give up, kind of deal. I just keep going and going and going. Stubborn or stupid, I'm not sure, but I just kept going and going and going. And the financial commitments that it took were crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Ramsey would not approve. I did things that, Darren was terrible. Like Darren Collins, like I said, great friend of mine, and he was very, he was an inspiration to me. We're the same age. And Darren, he'd say, "Oh, dude, I can't tell you how many times I went and got a brand new credit card with a huge credit limit to knock one off the list." I'd be like, "Really? You can do that? That's an option?" So I figured out that game real quick.
Oh,
and then
goodness.
try to figure out how to pay it off in a year so that you can do it again, kind of deal.
That's a video we should make. Just how to get a bunch of debt so that then you can go do the slam, get it done, and then declare bankruptcy and start over again.
Dude, the credit line you would need to pull that off now
I mean,
it's crazy.
Shit,
I started reassessing because that was always something like, I want to say it was right after Chuck Adams did it.
Mm-hmm.
I went, man, I want to do that. And I was young, right? And assessing it at the time, looking at what things cost. And I'm like, yeah, you could pull that off. I started revisiting it. I'm like, no, there's no way I can do it financially. I'll never be able to do it. I had to start writing things off of the list that just went, you'll never be able to afford that.
You can't look at it like that. How many deer do you got?
Honestly, embarrassingly, only 3.
Well, there's only 2 left. Go get them.
It's not that. It's the sheeps and the
sheep and the polar bear and the brown bear and the Yukon
brown
moose.
bear.
I mean, like, you get $500,000 in probably 10 specialty animals.
All you got to do is get lucky and draw a sheep tag, and then all of a sudden you got one. Well,
I put in for them. I do. I've never drawn one. I reverted myself back to what I'm calling the antlered slam.
Oh yeah,
it's animals with antlers.
Perfect.
Because most people can still afford. Yeah, you're gonna have 1 or 2 that are gonna be pricey, but the rest of them are doable.
Yeah.
So that's my own personal little.
And then
hope.
the Super 10 was pretty interesting too. So they do a Super 10,
Mm-hmm.
and that was another thing that kind of drove me over the edge. Was even though I at the time had maybe 16 when I started looking at it, I was only maybe 8 into the 10. And so I needed a mountain goat and I needed a sheep, and got a good deal on a mountain goat hunt. Didn't get one, had to go back. And then the sheep, Bowhunting Safari Consultants, those guys helped me out on finding hunts, that kind of thing. And he called on a cancellation sheep deal. And I was able to shoot a dull ram. Mm-hmm. And then right after the dull ram, Fannin / stone came available, and I was able to get the Fannin, and so then it's like, you got 2 of the sheep. You got to do what you got to do.
Just get your hooks into you, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
And then it got towards the end, and Matt was very, very helpful as well. And there was the bighorn is super hard. That's the hardest one, and it's the most expensive one right now. Mm-hmm. Is a regular Rocky Mountain bighorn. If you don't draw a tag, it's a tough one to get. And the success rates in a lot of Canada, the success rates are real low. Even with a rifle, the success rates are low. There's some bow hunting only opportunity like the Canmore and that kind of thing, which is what a guy would probably do. But I ran into this deal where I'm at the Western Conference show where I saw you last winter. And the banquet's going on, and I'm running the booth, right? And the booth is like packed, and pretty soon the auctions started, and I'm like, oh, I got a couple of buddies from Canada, and they're in the room, and we were talking about this bighorn tag that was going to come across. It was a Utah bighorn tag. It was going to come across the auction, and so and they're like, oh, I got a guy that's going to bid on it, and the other guy says, oh, I got a guy that's going to bid on it, and I'm like, what do you think it'll go for? And they're like, oh, all of what it did last year, and I'm like, well. So I'm like, I wanted to go to the auction just to see, and you never know, Well, I get done with the booth, and I go to the auction, and the guy at the door won't leave me in the door because I didn't have a $25 ticket. And I'm like, well, let me give you $25. I just want to go bid on stuff,
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I can't get in there. So I'm like, oh. So the crew had already went to dinner. So I went to catch up with the crew, and I'm running down through the hall, and there's a pull-up banner. It says bid online. And I'm like, oh, what's that? So I took a picture of it, and I was going down through the thing, and I signed up and thought, all right, and I look at the auction thing and went through, and I found that sheep, and I like, all right, I just plugged the number in, just goofing around. I knew both of my buddies would outbid that. I was totally confident in that. And I stuck my phone in my pocket, and I went to dinner with the guys, kind of deal. All of a sudden my phone starts ringing. This Chad from Alberta. And he goes, hey, none of us got that sheep sold online. I'm like,
Really?
yeah. So that worked.
I meant to be 10,000, but I accidentally put in 100,000. Congratulations!
You got a sheep.
Yeah. So.
I mean, are the discounts for a last minute hunt where like the Norwegian guys that ended up canceling
stuff.
It seems like that.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
It used to be even bigger. Used to be,
Okay.
I mean, you could get some cancellation deals that were really good. Now people use cancellation hunt as a way to sell hunts. I mean, it's,
that makes
kind
sense.
Of a, it's a buzzword kind of used too much.
Yeah.
But it used to be a big deal. Used to be able to get on some cancellation hunts that were awesome.
Okay. I'm sure that stuff still comes up.
It does, but everything's so popular now, and they're so far backlogged that they're not as much of a discount, I think is what it really boils down to. They don't feel like they need to give that hunt away to sell it.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of services have a list X long that say, hey, you get a hunt, call me, I can sell it. And I can sell it for near what you already sold it for. Get a guy to the front of the line.
Yeah. No, that probably makes sense.
The guy that I shot my doe sheep with at the time I went on that hunt, it was 16. It was a cancellation, but it was 16. And I talked to him at the Western show there, and he sold out through 2028. And so he's not taking, you can't book with him. He said, I won't book beyond that because I'll have to raise the prices again. But right now it's 60. And so it went from 16 to 60, not that long, in like 10 years. I mean, it's increasing at a rate more than.
Oh, vastly more than inflation.
Yeah.
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 But what's crazy is like 16 is very expensive, but that's something where if you're thinking, all right, I can put away a little bit of money every year and I can try to get this after 3 years, but 60 is not attainable.
That's a truck.
It's a nice ass truck.
It's a pretty nice truck.
That's an F-250 King Ranch sitting out there. So like that's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see the Super Slams going forward. Are they going to be lucky people that end up just drawing some of the specialty tags, or is it it can't be. It can't just be that. There's no way for you to pull a Super Slam unless you're literally willing to spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars now.
Lucky Canadians. So like the Canadians, there's towns in Canada where you can shoot a bunch of them within 20 miles of town.
I guess that's true because you have browns, you have caribou, you have moose, and you can probably go north enough to get polar bear.
Mm-hmm. So then they've only, and it's a different
sheep.
thing
and
because
sheep.
you're more of a resident. Kind
Yeah.
of deal.
Yeah.
And so then basically you're looking at like the desert and maybe a coos deer,
Then you just have to move to Canada, and who the hell wants to do that? I'm just kidding.
They're making some poor decisions too.
I've got a bunch of friends that moved to Alaska for that very purpose.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who do that. They
Yeah.
take a portion of their life, and I'm going to move to Alaska and become a resident so I can check those things off the list as a resident because it's cost effective. Or guys that offer to guide up there in exchange for being able to hunt.
Yeah.
That's a real common one too. It's like, I'll give you 3 weeks of guiding if you let me go hunting for a week.
Yeah.
And let me go mark some of this stuff off my list. I know a lot of guys have done it. There's only certain ways to do it. And like your point is very valid. I think it's going to be just rich people at this point. I mean, I think 10 years ago, it was still kind of obtainable with some luck. Like my buddy John Pinch, who just finished his off, he drew his last sheep in his home state.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right. Because he could, I can't afford that. And he owns a landscaping business, and he's not rich. Right. Incredible with a rifle and pretty good with a bow. But I don't think we're going to hear stories like that 10 years from now.
That's my story too. I didn't, I didn't buy. I just didn't flat out go buy the hunts to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you see so many guys like Frank Nasca he's closing in on, if he doesn't already have his third. I think he's closing in on his third. Darren's closing in on his second. But what happens with that? What happens is like you're on a muskox hunt, and there's there's 2 tags.
Yeah.
Well, like you're not going to shoot 2, right? So it's like and caribou used to always be like that. Caribou used to be 2 tags kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So the depth of most of the Super Slams, like Tom Randa as well, is probably pretty close. And I'm actually probably not all that far because the depth of like bull elk, I got a bunch. And then like a Roosevelt, just maybe, people got a few Roosevelts. You're not going to probably have multiple toolies. That's something that you're going to focus on. You don't have to specifically go after. So there are animals that you got to specifically go after, but there's a lot of those animals on that list, like Sitka blacktails. Well, most people got a bunch. If they've hunted them, they probably got a few. And then
it's not a hard one to attain.
Yeah. So and then if you live in Canada or Alaska, a lot of people have multiple dull sheep and maybe a couple stones or fan ends, so you're already kind of the depth of it is, and that's what I look at. That's actually one of the funnest things that I look at about the Super Slam is I didn't go to just check a box here or there. I mean, that wasn't the intent originally. There's a lot of depth to all that stuff. I mean, the number of multiples of all those species is just, that reflects a lot of hunting.
But it also, like, the thing when you put a list like that together is it creates focus and it drives the adventure. Because you go, okay, I never would have selected to go do a certain type of hunt, but now I want it for this list. And then you may go on a hunt and go, that was unbelievable. That, like, polar bear, you probably would never have decided to go do a polar bear hunt. Maybe you would have. But, like, listening to you describe that hunt, I'm like, I'm freaking in. I want to
just go do it.
Oh, it sounds so epic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
So that is, the multiple stuff is pretty fun. It's, in the adventures involved in it all. And the hunts that I went on specifically to check a box, it's not very many. It's maybe a handful, 4 or 5. I mean, at no point would I probably went and done a Thule elk, but I'm glad I did. It was super fun, really cool. They're amazing. It's definitely a different species, way smaller body, kind of thing. Different animal, and I guess there's other animals in there too, like the Columbia blacktail and the Coues deer. Those have become like my favorite animals. I love those things.
Interesting.
They're super fun to hunt. And I maybe wouldn't have done a Coues. I needed a Coues deer, and it was one on the list. So I'm like, okay, so the ATA show got over. I drove from Indy back to Sparta, dumped off the show stuff, grabbed my hunting stuff, and just drove down to Arizona, bought a tag. You could do that at the time.
Yeah.
Bought a tag over the counter, and, I'm like, I folded a map, and Darren had thrown a couple X's and O's on it, and there's national forest, and I'm like, cool. I'm gonna head to this lookout right here, And so in the dark, I hike up the trail, and it gets daylight, and there's a big Coues buck laying on the next hill over. I'm like, this is awesome.
This is the best hunt ever.
I sneak over there, and there's 2 big boulder rocks, and I'm like right between those boulders, and I look. Range of me is like 70 yards, but it's a Coues deer.
They're tiny,
they're small.
Well, but I mean, they're really tough spot and stalk. Bunnies eat them. I mean, everything eats Coues deer. I mean, so they're the prey of like literally everything. So they're on wires. I mean, they're really, really nervous.
Real skittish animal.
And I go to pull back, and he's quartering away. And I put the pin on, and I cut the arrow loose. And when the arrow hit the dirt, he was 20 feet from where I shot. And I thought, well, that's okay. I'm onto these things. I'll be able to wrap this up. I'll get one of these. That was easy. It was first morning, right? Kind of deal. Like, I don't know, 20 days later, I'm still in Arizona, and I'm on the mountain. I'm glassing across this thing, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like 20 days gone. This is crazy. I probably need to go home. And I just wrapped up all my spotting stuff, threw it in my backpack, come off the mountain, jumped in the truck in my camos, and drove to Wisconsin. I got to go home at some
20
point.
days for a 0.
I'll be back next year.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
That's very cool. Well, should
we talk about new product?
Kept people waiting long enough?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
If you
want a potty break.
Okay,
yeah,
sure,
go for it, man. You're good. Those first 5 minutes are epic. They're great. You went on his pod right after he had Ranch Fairy on it. I remember. Yeah, and you could totally tell he did not want to do that. Like it he seemed annoyed about having to
have ranch on. Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell. Like listening to the pod he did with him, he just he didn't like it. You could tell.
He shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have gone for so long.
Well, or just don't do it. Like if you really don't want to do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Troy shouldn't have did it either.
No, he shouldn't have. I think that was a poor decision for both of them, really. Because the people that are loyal to Troy are loyal, like almost cult-like. It's crazy. Like they're just, this is the way in the light.
One more scoot of the chair.
Scoot of the chair and a little more. Yeah, it'll sound faint. But yeah, it's that group of people, which does what he's talking about work? Yes, to a degree. Sure. Mm-hmm. Is it necessary? No, not at all. But when you find something that works, and anybody who's tried to tune a traditional bow that you can't adjust limb pressure and you can't move the knock end around much, and you have to manipulate the arrow to get it to flex a certain way to come out of a bow, understands that you can take a bow that's not tuned at all and make your arrow appear like it's flying straight out of it when it wasn't before.
Sure.
Just by manipulating it.
I shoot a lot of trad.
Yeah. I mean, my dad was a hardcore traditionalist. I learned everything about it. I shot traditional in my mid-teens for a couple of years, like religiously.
Yeah.
And then I picked up a compound that I hadn't shot in a year and a half and shot a way better group than I'd shot the entire time shooting traditional. And all my customers shot compounds. And I was like, this is dumb. I'm going back to this. Because I didn't think the customer base would relate. But I really enjoyed it a lot. And my dad was driven by it, like 20 plus years, 25 years of hunting mostly whitetail, but just traditional only, period, was adamant about it. So I get the what's going on with it and how to manipulate it, right? But his group of people are just diehard.
Yeah,
this is the way.
But it's people that had problems. Like if there wasn't problems, then he wouldn't have a voice that's as loud as he still has in the space.
Yeah,
like
I'm not sure that voice is all that loud anymore.
So here's the thing: there's nobody that bow hunts that didn't crack an animal in the shoulder and watch it run away with 25 inches of arrow hanging out.
Sure.
Happens. Don't shoot stuff in the leg. Period. And so people want a solution to that. They want a solution to that issue. Yeah, the solution is don't shoot them in the leg because
right.
I mean, for like 3 years I shot 100 pounds. Back in the McPherson days, I shot 100-pound bows, and I shot forever 80, 85, 90, but it was kind of a thing, macho thing back in the late 80s, whatever. I was shooting 100-pound bows and fingers bare bow, 2317s, Zwicky deltas. I mean, I've been there, done that. We did all that kind of stuff with just like crazy amounts of kinetic energy and all that kind of thing. The bottom line is, even then, don't shoot them in the leg. It doesn't work. It does. You can't. I mean, the amount that it works with that equipment, it works that amount with our current equipment.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've blown through shoulders a bull elk with a rage and a 450 grain arrow to where like the front leg is windmilling and there's a 2-inch slit in the heart. I've had it work crazy well. Very often, no. I mean, most often it doesn't work, but it didn't work back in the day with 100 pounds and 700 grain arrows either.
That's okay. So that's the spec that you were actually shooting was 100 pounds with a 700 grain arrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be like just for the arrow to hold up back then. That's what at 100 pounds.
Right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So it was just like Anyways, it's like, and honestly. I don't know if I go into
You're
that.
good.
But I kind of lived through that twice.
Yeah.
Because that all took place, those studies and all the stuff that he's referencing took place in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was around in the 80s. And
it's my beginnings.
Yeah,
I know.
And I ran through all that stuff twice. I heard all those reports. I heard all those tests. I seen all that stuff back in the 80s. And all the guys that were designing bows and like all the archery people back in the 80s are like, that isn't how it works.
Right.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so, as you said, parts of it are correct, but I want people shooting their equipment to the full potential.
100%.
And you've diluted the potential of your equipment for not that great of return. Like,
That's right.
like, you know, like with the same bow, this is the quickest numbers that just work. With the quickest bow, I shoot 72 pounds now with a 29-inch draw length. And a 450 grain arrow versus a 650 grain arrow is, it's a 3% gain in kinetic energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 27% loss of speed.
Correct.
That's crazy. It's not, I mean, you're not gaining it. And the kinetic energy off the top is like, my kinetic energy on that setup, my memory's not that great, but I think it was like 87 foot-pounds, something like that.
It's probably about right.
And, you know, my stick that I shoot all the time is a 47-pound Mathews modified longbow. And it has 24 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. It's 47 pounds, and I will shoot an elk all day long with that stick, or a mule deer, or a whitetail.
Mm-hmm.
It has 24 pounds. So now we're talking the difference between 87 foot-pounds and 84 foot-pounds. When I know that 24 foot-pounds will get it done all day long, I shoot through deer all the time with that longbow. So, I mean, it's like, what are we talking about here? You're giving up all kinds of performance and trajectory and accuracy. And, you know, the greatest challenge that we have as archers is the distance to the target. And when you're
Reaction time.
Well, and reaction time and arc and every other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and even somewhat accuracy on that. And, you know, when you're giving all that up for that little bit of a gain, it just doesn't make sense. I like to see people using their equipment, because that's what we do. We build equipment. You sell equipment. Right. I like to see it used at the optimum potential that it has. And it's you know, it's hard for me to watch it get utilized at far, far less than what it's capable of.
It's super interesting. Like I dove down the heavy rabbit, the rabbit trail of the heavy arrows for a while, and I was doing a 615 grain arrow for a few years, and I've progressively just lightened up, and I'm back down to I'm shooting 399 with a 76 pound bow, and I'm probably a little too light, but I saw the same thing. I never found a setup where I was like, this is going to shoot through a bull elk shoulder. Just don't do that.
No advantage. So like Asian water buffalo they're like 2,500 pounds. They're 1,000 pounds bigger than a Cape buffalo. So I was going to go do that this summer. And I set up a bow that was like 87 pounds or something like that. And really the best thing that I could come up with, or in my mind, is the grains per pound. So the grains per pound of bow weight is what I go by, and it's usually in the window. Just out of all the setups that I had, I kind of end up between 6.2 and 7.2 grains per pound. And if you want more kinetic energy, you need more pounds, and you can stay in that window. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I had my bow shooting a 450 grain arrow, and it was shooting like 288 or something like that. And I was going to do this buffalo, so I went to heavier weight, draw weight, and thought, I'm just going to build the grains per pound the same. My sight tape's the same. Everything's exactly the same. I'm shooting the same bow, just harder to pull,
right.
But it's shooting the same speed. It's shooting the same sight tape. Everything's the same. It's just like, I'm used to the trajectory. I'm used to everything. And now all of a sudden I've got like 107 foot-pounds of kinetic energy or something crazy. And, it's kind of funny. So the opportunity presented itself. This water buffalo comes out, and we were in the bush after these things forever. I finally get this shot. He's like 35 yards, and I had an iron will on there, a regular buff, tough iron will thing. And that arrow went through like absolute hot butter, just like, you could hear it cracking brush 20 yards the other side of the buffalo. And he runs out, and it was a good shot. And so he runs out and he stops and he looks back at us. So I rip out the next arrow in my quiver. It's like a not so heavy arrow. I think it was like proportionately, let's see, no, I had built some stuff to make it shoot the same. So, but I had a T2 on there. I had a G5 T2.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. And he stopped in the pH goes 92, and I'm like, all right. slide the needle down with a mechanical, and
on a 2,500-pound buffalo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like butter. Just like the knock was sticking out about this far, but the broadside was sticking out.
Was he broadside?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And and so then my son seen that. My son was also hunting there, but we had different pHs and different places and everything. We were together at night, but I never even got to see his buffalo. He never got to see mine because we're traveling to hunt. And so I told him the story and stuff, and he's like, dude, I'm doing it. I'm just shooting mine with a mech. I'm like, you do what you want. And then he's like, and he was shooting like 84 pounds, something like that. And his bull steps out and it's like 55 yards. He just pulled out. Our arrows were like, his arrows were like 565 or something like that. And but to get the speed where he was before, and he shoots and just right to the fletch. I mean, it buries right to the fletch, poking out the backside with a T2.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect hit. So I mean, it's like, it's like, I don't know. So basically the grains per pound. So like if somebody told me, hey, I got a permit for an elephant, I would go in a heartbeat. And if I'm shooting 100 pounds, if you use my formula, that's a 720 grain arrow.
Yeah.
I'd do that. I wouldn't shoot a Mac. But
Displacing 2 inches might be a little tougher than an inch and a quarter or something like that. But I'm with you. I think the arrow weight things are just way too excessive in certain of those things. It's about the appropriate spined arrow more than anything, and then the type of broadhead you put on it. Right. Because that's been my experience through everything I've seen.
Right. And when you get those arrows that are just, you get setups and combinations, and it's easy to do now, where the knock is just traveling directly behind the broadhead. Absolute perfect arrow fight, and it hammers the target. My word, that's going places. I mean, if back in the day, if your arrows weren't flying great or you had something going on, that's a huge distraction from penetration. Where if you get the right combination and it's flying straight, I go by the iron stuff. I'm a junkie for novelties. You put a novelty out there, I will spend every dime I got. So like tack, sometimes I don't even get out on the course because I work at the booth. But I get a little break, and I'm out there shooting at that caribou. I'll waste all kinds of money shooting at that caribou. But anyways, that's new. So anyways, the iron stuff, like the R100 iron target or whatever, I can't help myself. So I'm always in those things. And then when I do eventually hit the iron, it's funny because there might be 150 people shooting at that iron deer or the iron rhino or that kind of thing. When I do hit the iron, I go up there, my arrow is stuck in the iron. I wiggle it a little bit and pull it out, spin it, and put it back in my quiver. And that happens because of is good components, but it's directly, if your arrow isn't flying absolutely perfect, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if it's impacting any which way, but when you have absolute perfect arrow flight, that force is completely behind the point, and it doesn't break if you got decent components, and you know that better.
Components matter on arrows a lot.
That's
might be more important than the damn arrow, honestly, because if you've got an innate failure problem just waiting to happen, it's going to go where it's weak.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. And arrows just don't hold up well with deflection. They just don't.
No.
Your component won't. Like, it's hard. Like, you try to make it go that way, and it wants to go that way, and it's going to break at the component. It's as simple as that, which is why I dabbled that direction.
Can you buy components at podiumarcher.com using discount code BMAC
How did I let you get another plug in? Oh, my
really
God.
Good ones. Really good.
They are
pretty,
good ones.
They're pretty decent.
No,
They do all right.
Friggin' titanium. You got all sorts of fun stuff. Hey, you know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should talk about the new Mathews bows that are coming out this year. No, it's been amazing.
Great,
obviously, like if you're still here, you were granted the gift of listening to like some of the coolest hunting stories in existence from somebody who has done a lot of stuff. So thank you for sharing on the pod. We appreciate that.
For sure.
Now, we don't have the bows with us. For some reason, I blame both of you guys since
I don't have one, so you can't blame me. I literally have zero possession of any new product.
He doesn't have one, and mine is so modified and messed up and worked on and customized. That
spray painted.
You don't want to see that.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, what we're going to have to do, because a lot of this is audio anyway, we're going to basically just have to describe stuff.
Sure.
So I just saw a bunch of pictures on your phone. What were some of the changes made to the riser this year from last year?
So, it's we always get the rap about, oh, they didn't do anything. We do a lot. So, I mean, this is a new riser. It's new cups. It's a new limb configuration. It's a new cam. There's a lot changed on the whole bow. So top to bottom, we went through and we revisited everything. The riser is crazy strong, very, very durable, very rigid, very strong riser without adding weight. And we added some stuff. So like the pull up deal, what's that called?
SCS, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is built into the riser now, which is kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
In the back of the riser has the V-bar attachment bridge lock into the back of the riser. So that's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
That'll lower a complete bow weight when you're done if you're equipping the whole thing.
Yeah.
A little less going on there.
And we didn't add any weight by doing that. The bow is basically the same weight, and it's just really robust. I mean, it's just a crazy. It's an engineering marvel.
I mean, the thing that stuck out to me the most initially seeing it was looking at the riser. It genuinely looks different from last year. Like it still looks like a Mathews bow, but like there was just parts and pieces to it that I was like, man, it looks more skeletonized. But then there's like some kind of back ribbing truss stuff going on near the limb pockets that looks like it had been beefed up and added. I don't know. It looks freaking cool. I need to back up. What are the names of the bow? And let's do some basic specs.
Yeah, there you go.
Axle to axle, all that kind of stuff.
And the 26 bow is the ARC, it's called, from Mathews. And there's two versions of it. There's a 30-inch and a 34-inch axle to axle.
Okay.
And I've really, really enjoyed shooting it. It's a new cam, which is pretty darn cool. It's very, very efficient, and we were able to go back to perimeter weighting. And what perimeter weighting doesn't necessarily mean the weight in the cam. It's also it's a position of the weight if you put an axis through the cam on one side or the other. So I mean, a cam without a weight in it could be perimeter weighted, and that's kind of our patent. But when we've always added the weights on some of the cams. Well, this cam has a weight back in it. Everything you change on a bow changes everything. So, I mean, it's like if you recam something, your limbs, your limb angles, your riser. I mean, if you change the limb angle, you might not find the efficiencies out of the existing cam kind of thing. Or if you change a cam, you might not find the efficiencies out of the existing limb angles or whatever. So this bow has perfectly parallel limbs. And in the past, we've been beyond parallel. And we found that to be extremely efficient, but it had a little bit more vibration and a little bit more recoil than what typical Mathews are, So that's when we went back into the perimeter weighting, and that's why we redid the cam and we did all the work on the cam. So we're able to capitalize on the efficiencies we found from the limb angle, and we were able to make it, I'm going to say less recoil and less vibration and even quieter.
That's crazy.
Than the past with the perimeter weighting. Look at you, you're questioning
How
me.
in the hell is that possible?
Right? You're questioning
Well,
it.
I'm not fairly questioning. I'm thinking back to the years of doing this, right? And you're already, I'm trying to remember what percentage it was, because decibels are a weird thing. It only takes so many decibels before it's actually double, and it's not an equal numeric to the number.
Right.
So when you're talking
10 decibels,
10 decibels is
effectively double as
right?
loud.
And you were already, I think, 2 decibels below the lowest thing I tested. And everything I've tested this year hasn't gotten near that. And I've tested most of them already. I haven't seen yours yet in person. But how quieter?
What happens if you if this is what Matt loves, this description, you grab a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
You tear it in half. This is 50%. You tear that in half. This is 50%. You tear that in half. This is 50%. Pretty soon that paper is like, a 1/4 inch square. You tear that in half. It's still 50% better.
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
You follow me?
I'm with you. I 100%. So are they any faster than last year? Same, different?
We're running the same specs.
Okay.
You might find a few foot per second difference just because it's more efficient. And so what happens is, like in our testing versus maybe your testing or some of the other testing, when you start adding a loop or maybe a knock set or a peep sight or anything added on there, you start affecting efficiency.
Sure.
Well, because it's more efficient, that stuff isn't affecting it as much, but the printed specs are the same.
Okay.
But it might be a little better than that.
Cool. Nice. That always did baffle me that that's not like a standard requirement of testing with a string loop when 99 out of 100 people are using a string loop on a bow. And I've had that argument, well, why not a peep? Well, there's too many variants in peeps to be able to test with a peep.
That's fair, yeah.
Because one peep might be 3 feet, one peep might be 10 feet, depending on how big and heavy and bulky it is, etc. But everyone uses a string loop.
Right.
Everyone. So I wish that was kind of required, but it's a couple feet a second, and that's reality. No different than if you shoot a 350 grain arrow with no fletchings on it versus a 350 grain arrow with fletchings on it. It's going to give you a different speed through the chronograph. If you draw the bow back to where it hits its back wall and immediately goes off, as opposed to holding it and pulling through a shot, it's going to give you a different speed. And so it's not when I'm saying what the acceptable parameters are, it's taking those things into mental account. Is that okay? You're not testing with a loop. You're shooting a shaft without fletchings, etc., to get this extra inflated percentage difference. I wish the loop was part of it. I really do, because nobody's not going to do that.
We'll talk about RAS, because
realistic arrow speed.
This is what should be happening.
Yeah, I mean, in my which I haven't done your guys' yet, so you haven't seen it, but maybe you've watched some of the other ones. There's a few out already, but I'm really trying to promote realistic arrow speed. It's 29 inches, 65 pounds, 450 grain arrow. I would like to see that as a number that the brands actually publish. Now, they're probably never going to get away from 5 grains a pound at 30 inches, because I don't think anybody would be bold enough to say, we're just not going off of that anymore. But we used to have a slower number back in the day of ammo, which was at the time relevant to a large percentage of people way, way, way back. But by your own admission, that's right in the mark of what you even say, this is what I use. And I would say 75% of people are really close to that metric.
Right.
I'd love to see that published on a product of, look, this is the actual metric. But within that, and I don't think I've always clarified it, it's with a string loop. Test it with a string loop and publish that somewhere.
So the standards, were, I was somewhat involved with all that back in the day, and there it used to be plus or minus like a length of string because of the valley, the way that the valleys used to be on the back end. So, I mean, it was plus or minus on the draw length, and there was all kinds of stuff. Well, when we were able to nail the draw lengths to really specific, tolerances, everybody still took that
sloppy,
that stretched out an extra quarter inch or 3
inches,
whatever
it was 5/8.
Yeah, you could
pull
pull
it. 5/8.
Oh, you could pull it 5/8
back in the day. It was,
yeah.
So it was like, so there's, the standards, 5 grains per pound kind of works because that's where you're going to be the least efficient. Mm-hmm. Anything that you do in addition to that is raising efficiency. But I like your standard. I like the way that you're testing. It was the AMO standard was what, 540, 28, 60.
Or
30,
60. It was 30, 60 and 540 back in the day. Yeah. And that was like we're talking the ranch ferry level kind of stuff at that point. And that's so not relevant anymore. But I would really love to see a number published on there that a guy who bought the bow went, yeah, hey, that's pretty close. Right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, how many people are going to be that nerdy to go beyond into understanding the difference of 5 grains a pound 70 pounds,
well,
30 inches,
and the way it
etc.
is, you almost need like an Instron, and I mean it gets pretty techy the way it is right now to get it all the same and to do an apples to apples comparison. So it's like, we have every bow known to man, kind of thing, and we do the testing on it, and we find a lot different results than what you're explaining in the field, like the 29 450, what that would be. We find a lot different results even in IBO speeds and that kind of. And we do actually get the speeds that we're advertising. That's not an inflated number. We shoot that multiple times before we ever would advertise it. But it's to be honest, it's all specced out, and it's on the Instron, and I mean it is an arrow without fletch. It is with a single knock, and there's a time allocation for the period at full draw. That matters. I mean, if you hold it like 10 seconds versus 5 seconds, that's the difference.
Yep.
So some of that stuff, and basically that's all efficiency. What you're talking about is efficiency, is that, because like I said, there's only two things: storing it and delivering it.
Sure.
And so what you're doing when you do that other stuff is you've affected efficiency.
Gotcha.
And that's why you got the speed differences.
What do you think it will take? Like, do you think it takes a governing body to get everybody to agree, or do you think it's just Zach calls Matt, calls John, and they all go, "Here, we're going to do it"?
I'm optimistic this will actually work, and I'm only saying that from the standpoint of every metric that I measure, everyone's pretty close on anymore, and they didn't used to be. So
you just need to take the bull by the horns and do it.
I am.
You just test it, do it.
I have been,
and that's good.
This whole year,
I applaud you.
It's another one of here's and I say in each one, I was like, this is what I want you to publish on your stuff, please. Yeah. It's a number that the average guy will actually see and be relevant, and it's not the variance off of how you tested it and how it came out. It's please publish this, like what you got, right? Because anymore. I've still yet to see one this year more than 10 feet off in speed. I've only had one that was outside of 1/10 of a pound in weight off, in physical weight, right? When you actually weigh the product versus what's published, right? So they're the things that I'm actually measuring, they're monitoring and making sure that are within that, so it doesn't come off bad. They're nobody's draw length, with the exception of, I just take that back. I think I had two that exceeded 1/4 inch over their actual draw length when you measured it. Right, out of 27 bows or whatever that I've tested. So they're paying attention to it. So I'm very optimistic that if I just keep saying it, they will put it on there. And that's just so the end consumer that's buying the product sees a number published somewhere that actually makes sense when he shoots it through a chronograph and goes, oh, okay, I'm pretty close. Then it's an easier thing, as opposed to this real big number that 98% of people are never going to set their bow up to shoot at that. Right. I mean,
there's so many guys that walk around the shop and they're disappointed that their bow is not shooting 340 feet per second, but they don't understand why.
Yeah. And so if you publish both, you've got
they're not shooting a 350 grain arrow.
Exactly. And they're 26 inches instead of 30 inches.
And they're also holding the bow back for a few seconds before they let it fire. Just all those. It is one of those metrics. Just seems like a silly metric to put on there, because it's not what. It's not 99 out of 100. It's 999,000.
I was trying to leave a percentage. I was trying to leave a percentage that, there's probably still a couple people grabbing a release and putting it on the string and not having a string loop. But it's in that, like, it does make a difference.
Yeah.
But so does a peep, and everyone's going to use a peep. But you run into a conflict of there's a pretty big difference in peeps.
Right.
There's not really a whole lot of difference in a string loop. That's a pretty uniform thing. I mean, if you put no soft knots and use 23
the length of the loop, you could you could designate and make
it's got to be this parameter and that kind of thing.
That, from the ATA standpoint, I'm not sure that that's I don't think that's it lies on them. I think like I told you before, I really, really appreciate the testing and the reviews that you're doing, because it's been missing for a few years. We used to have, back in the day, we had Norm Mulaney and Emery Louiselle, and we had some technical writers that were doing some bow reviews and that kind of thing. And they held standards. I mean, they did their tests, and they didn't care what any of us manufacturers were doing. They said, this is how I test it. This is what I'm going to do. And they published a test, and it was in every issue it would have a bow. Every issue he'd do a bow review in there, and yeah, I mean it was just his standards, and so you could relate this bow to that bow and that kind of thing. And I applaud you with the 450 grain and loop, and go for it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just hope it just be nice.
But there is a lot of reviews out there that really get wonky. I mean, you got some guy shooting I love Hamsky, but a Hamsky peep with a loop and a whisker biscuit with feathers and whatever. I mean, they're not testing like you're testing.
Yeah.
If you develop a standard and stick to those standards and compare, awesome. That's great.
That's the hard part too, is that you can't brand to brand can't really do it either, because you have to be testing with the same stuff in the same spot and the same equipment.
I mean,
which is why I don't do them down here. Like I'm dealing with all the brands throughout the years. Like, you have to send it to Spokane, and I have to coordinate when I'm in Spokane to do it, because I need it shot through this exact chronograph and weighed with this exact scale and shot with these exact arrows and the same lighting conditions, etc. So it's always the same result to get a uniform answer.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, so develop your standards and run it. I love it. Go for it.
And I appreciate the kind words. It wasn't intended to turn into what it turned into, but I really enjoyed doing it.
No, it's really good. It's really, really good.
It's fun.
And I enjoy seeing it. And I mean, so it's like a review or a it's like at a job talking to your boss when it's like, okay, here's what you got. Here's what we want you to live up to. Here's what we want to see. And so it's kind of neat. And, we're definitely up to that challenge. I'm bringing out.
That's awesome.
We'll do whatever. And I might have mentioned this before, but we watch that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so if you have a standard or something that you do in your testing, that's gonna be maybe not
be paid attention to a little bit at least.
Yeah, it might not be top of the mind, but we're gonna have that in the back of our mind when we're engineering and designing.
That's cool, man. That's I mean, and it baffled me that it wasn't like there wasn't a body that was doing that.
Who would it be though?
It's fine. It worked out good. I mean, it's done pretty well for me. It's made me notable in the space for that regard. I love all the manufacturers out there, and I really do, and all the boat companies are super important to the industry. So I mean, I don't. There's not an enemy of us anywhere, but we're not going to call and say, hey, here's what we're doing this year. What are you doing? No. That's not going to happen. Some years you wonder, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, you get the products and was like, okay, you guys both did the same thing. And it's happened a couple different years where my mind just goes, were there, like, people, insiders going back and forth with this thing? Or are they just logical enough to understand where the demands are coming from the industry and both focusing on the same thing?
That one. It's parallel thinking.
Well, no different. I've had buddies in the past that have had their like secret hunting spots, and they end up in the same spot, and they swear they're following each other around to find it. It's like, no, he did the same research you did, dumbass.
Exactly.
It came up to the same result, and we ended up doing the same thing. And you see that more often than not than in the leaders. Like the leaders of the industry that are doing the best are typically focusing on the exact same things or dang near the exact same things every year.
Well, consumer feedback has never been more available than social media, right? So, I mean, we never had that before. We had magazines. So, like, we got to talk to the consumer. Consumer never got to talk to us. Mm-hmm. And now the way it is, we get a lot of feedback from social media, and we see all the interactions on there and the comments and that kind of thing. Yeah. And it does drive innovation on what people want, what they think they want. What they think they want isn't always what they need, but
it doesn't change. It's probably what they want, though. And you guys have been more cognizant of that than any brand. Like, you were ahead of it. I still remember going up to one of your booths, and it was probably 5 years ago or 6 years ago at a trade show, whatnot, when I had a buddy of mine that had started a shop somewhere, and I was like, hey, I know he's applied for a dealership. What are you guys looking into that or whatnot? And both guys just pull up their phone and go, what was his name? And go to their social media. And this was like 6 years ago. It's like I don't even care about the rest of it. What are they doing publicly?
Right.
and public facing. And that's when my brain went, wow, I probably ought to really make sure I'm paying attention to that. And at the time, I was just like,
gotta secure some Instagram handles.
I was like, oh,
yeah.
wow. But that was the only company that was doing that. Like you guys were almost everything you've done has been kind of ahead of the curve. Like you could see there's an envisionment, which I'm sure it's largely Matt, but it's like he could see where it was going to go way before most other people did, and focus on, we're going to be prepared for that and ready for that and moving in that same direction.
So, innovation and building the absolute best product has always been a huge part of our focus, but we don't suck at marketing.
No,
we're pretty good at marketing.
No, I've said for a long time, you're a marketing company that makes bows.
That's not true.
Well,
that's not true.
You make really good bows, but it feels like you're almost better at marketing, which is intended to be a compliment and not an insult to the bow making process. You're just that damn good at the marketing.
My background is marketing, and I'm still insulted because it really is, like, from the very beginning, from the very beginning days of Mathews, our entire goal was to build the best bow and arrows we could possibly build. Period. I mean, and nothing gets in the way. No material costs, nothing. I mean, whatever builds the absolute best bows, and that's why, mods. That's why we have interchangeable mods, and we refuse
all the shops
to
freaking hate them. Yeah,
yeah, that's fine.
Well, in all fairness, I actually do love it from the standpoint of most shops won't carry them, and I sell a lot of them.
but the problem is, as you know,
yeah,
you can't do it. A rotating mod cannot do what replacing the mod will do. You've got a different draw force curve.
Sure.
So if you're shooting a 28-inch draw length and a 30-inch draw length, you're shooting a different bow. You've literally got a different draw force curve. It's like handing you two different bows performing differently, where with the Mathews, when you change a cam, if I hand you a 30-inch or a 28-inch, it's the exact same experience, except the draw length is shorter.
Yeah.
And you can't do that on a rotating mod. And that's why, we do it on the mission line, and it's maybe okay, kind of, sort of good enough. That ain't what we do. We don't do good enough. I mean, it's and that's just an example of how we treat it. We're going to do what's the absolute best. Adjustments on a cam are convenient, but they're not always great.
It's not as good.
It's not as good.
It's not as good. And
let off included.
And allow me to say thank you so much for the new cam having the same module as the old cam.
Right?
Oh, that is
That'd
good.
have been another 240 different modules. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Just when you were feeling good about that.
Oh, did you add something?
No. We did.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Evan didn't tell me that. So what do I have to do now?
So there is a mod called an SWX dash. The mods are, that's an SWS-2 cam.
Yeah.
There is an SWX-Z mod, an additional mod.
Okay.
It's a comfort mod, kind of, like, to use a term.
Sure.
It pulls amazing. I mean, it turns the bow into just an absolute joy to shoot. I mean, it feels so good. The draw is good. It's the
one let off or two?
One let off.
Okay, so another 120 modules. One what you're telling me.
One mod. Just one mod. One additional mod in each draw length.
In every draw length and every poundage.
In every poundage. Yeah.
So 120 modules.
Yeah, the SKUs are like insane. Yeah.
What's the let off amount on it?
Well, I'll say 85-ish.
Okay.
It's not set. It's just like, it's something that we built just to make it feel wonderful. The whole mod thing and the camming thing, just to kind of go into that a little bit, is the draw force curve. I hear it all the time. People review. It's like, it feels pretty good, but there's a hump. There hasn't been a hump on the draw force curve in 20 years. There's
not on yours.
Yeah, not on
yours.
No, right? I'm only speaking for myself. There's not a hump on it, but we got that with, like, the Phase 4. I think it was somebody said that. Yeah, there's a hump on there. No, what happens is your muscle groups, and you're going to feel it different than I'm going to feel it.
Correct.
Versus what you're going to feel it. Yeah. So your muscles are stronger at a certain point, like the front end of the draw force curve, your muscles are good. I mean, you're really strong. Towards the back end, you transfer muscle groups on the draw, and it that muscle group and that transfer might give you the feel that there's like a hump or something at that point, but there's not. Those draw force curves are perfect. I mean, they're really cool. So this draw force curve is like nailing the perfect spots for total joyful experience in archery. I mean, it just pulls and shoots amazing. It's a comfort mod. You do give up speed, but of course you are, because you don't store it. The optimal, SWX cam type curve is that's a culmination of low recoil, low vibration, low noise, speed. It's a culmination of all the best attributes available in a bow. But the comfort mod is focused about comfort, about just feeling. I don't even know if I'm supposed to call it a comfort mod. The SWXZ mod is it's awful.
Okay.
I mean, it's not awful. It's
no, it sounds very nice.
Good.
Awfully awesome.
Yeah. Awfully awesome.
There you go.
So let me go through some of the bow, and you step in here as well. Like, it's still split limb technology.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then the timing feature that you got, or not the timing, the wheeling limb shift technology still in there.
Yeah, that's working great. That is
I've had zero problems. I was a little worried out of the gate, although I did say, hey, they don't make things that break, so I'm not worried about it. But the fact that the limb was moving in and out, because on like Bowtex with their drive system, if you didn't get the gap right when you put it back together, it could derail. So I was kind of looking at, you're changing the width here as you're doing this a little bit. So I was curious, but at the same time, I was like, there's no way they're going to make something that would come off.
10,000s over the length of a limb.
Yeah, I've had zero problems. I haven't had somebody screw one up yet, which is amazing. I don't know how that hasn't happened. But I've had zero failure issues, period.
That's the problem with adjustments. People tend to adjust them.
Yeah, that does happen.
The problem with adjustments, people use them.
At one point in time, there was the old bows used to have a button so that the fork of the limb didn't crack.
Yeah, they'll clamp over it and a screw. Yeah, no, I remember.
And
those.
so people would, back early days of Mathews, they would take the button off to see if the limb's cracked. Well, guess what happens when you take the button off? Limb cracks. So, I mean, it's like
magic.
So it's like, So we were running around and it just simplistic. We're running around and Matt's like, what are those things in the bathroom? Like those bathroom screws where you can't undo it. You can only make it tighter. You can't. He's like, get a bunch of those. So there was actually a few. Mathews went out with that screw on there. And then we went with the inside pin torques, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Get them tight, whatever. Yeah. But when you do, I did have a ex come into a booth at a TAC event, and I'm like, oh, what did you do? I mean, he had one side was like, the gap was like enormous on. It's like, no, brother, we don't need to do that. So just put him back to zero, because as you know, it takes just a tiny, tiny tweak. If you've got a left hair this far, I mean, you move that baby left just like 1/2 of one line, and it's a bullet hole.
Traditionally,
it isn't something you start reefing on and torquing on, and a ton of them are spot on out of the box. And when I was setting bows up for the TAC stuff and different trailers that are out in the field, I noticed that Nick Gann was putting all these bows together, and pull them out of the box, throw the rest on there, center shot, walk over there, bullet hole. I mean, it was amazing how many of them were spot on right out of the box, and the ones that weren't were like literally just 5-10 thousandths little tweak, and it was good. But the limb shift's been really good for us.
Yeah, that's great. Did you guys add a timing feature, or still no timing? Still twisting cables to change timing?
Bow shop's got to do something, man. So here's the thing with that. Like I said, when you make something somebody can adjust, that they tend to adjust it, and so I actually am a huge fan of top hats. I didn't mind top hats. So I like the limb shift better now, but the top hat thing, I'm like, how is anybody complaining about this? I mean, it's so simple, and once you fix it, it is locked in stone. It's not going to change. And it was, man, I could tune a bow with top hats in 10 minutes. It's no big deal. Just pop it in, pop it out. And you made those custom half size ones. It was awesome. And it was like, it really worked out good to be able to, to make that adjustment and have it be locked in stone. And the timing thing, I'm online way too much, and I'm reading those comments, and it's like, oh, I find that if my top cam is a 1/4 inch fast from my bottom cam, I'm like, oh no, you didn't, and sometimes it's people that are very well respected making comments like that, Bows shoot best. Our bows shoot best in spec. I mean, you want to spec it out.
Which is both cams hitting at the same time.
Yeah, they're synchronized, and your axle to axle is right, your brace height's right, your synchronization is spot on. You want our boats perform really, really well spec'd out, and especially like the titles. Pro shooters. I'm one of them, so it's like sometimes one of them, and they tend to play with stuff, and so it's like, oh, I do this, do that kind of thing. I promise you, the title shoots amazing spec'd out. And when I start talking to somebody and they're like, I'm really struggling, it's like, what do you got? And I look at their bow and it's like, let's go back to spec, buddy. And when you do, it just pounds.
All of a sudden it's better.
Yeah. It's like,
that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let you off that easily, because your bow is probably probably the hardest bow I've ever had to time. Like the draw force curves are so efficient and so precise that trying to get both the hit exactly perfect is difficult.
You probably know this, but I'll give you a couple tips on that. So it doesn't take anything for me, because if I say the top cam is an 1/8 of an inch or less.
Sure.
All you got to do is pop the cable off. We don't twist the loops. Okay. So you pop the cable off, you take the loop, you put it between your finger and you go, boot, and you stick it back on.
And you think that stays?
100% that stays. When you twist the cable, it does not stay as well. So like what happens is if you put a twist in the cable, so I'm going to, that's out of time. So you put a half twist in there. Now you stick it back on there and it might take 20 shots. That twist has to travel, and we serve so much of the cable that it has to travel under that serving. So if you take that loop, if you just pull the loop part, and so like, it's, this one's just a tiny bit fast. You take that thing, go boop, stick it back on there. And if you have a serve loop, if it's an aftermarket string or whatever, just go to the yoke, and the unserved part of the yoke, just give that a little bit of a twist, and that stays. That's lock solid. That doesn't move. What does move is when you try to do the length with that much serving. And so that will work, but you might adjust it a time or two before you get it nailed.
Gotcha.
And the other thing that, people, I love consumers having a relationship with a bow shop. I owned a bow shop. I mean, I'm all about bow shops. I love a good bow shop. Well, if you need to adjust your synchronization, we have that stay afield system. I can sync your bow in easy 5 minutes. You just take that system, you squeeze it down, put the string on one, string on the other, let up, pull that cable off, do that, take it off, and check it.
Yeah,
super simple.
It is a really nice.
Simple.
It is a really nice thing that you guys have that I don't think gets highlighted enough.
It's cheap. Like if you own a Mathews bow, you should definitely have that stay afield system.
You can work on your string. You can work on either cable. You can time it. You can sync it. You can do any. You can check your brace height. You can do anything you want to do with that. It's awesome.
Yeah. I still think that a timing feature is going to be necessary. Like I get it. I'm not you guys, which are the big dogs in the world, but I still think it's silly that it's not there. Sorry. Like I know it seems crazy, but what you just said was no, just twist the loop a little bit above the serving. And I think the same thing. Well, then I'm still having to go back to my bow press multiple times to go check this to make sure that it's staying in. Now, to be fair, if I'm changing the timing on one of the other bows with some sort of mechanical timing thing that I'm twisting, I still have to verify that that's in. And how am I doing that? I'm still putting it in a press to go verify.
Most likely.
Yeah.
So I mean, some people will draw it and hold it and can feel it move.
Yeah, that's
on
tough.
one or the other.
That's a real tough
on
one,
a lot
though.
of bows. That's really hard.
Gotta look.
You gotta be able to look
Yeah,
at it.
I think so too.
Yeah, you gotta have a draw board.
So can I ask one more question about something that now what's happened is basically every manufacturer has moved to Picatinny, and you guys are exclusive with Bridgelock, which basically, as soon as this started happening, I was like, okay, I'm not going to buy a Bridgelock sight because now I'm obligated to use that only on a Mathews bow. So I lost all versatility to use that across different systems unless I bought one that worked as Bridgelock and then also had the side mount for the original, the burger holes. I guess it wouldn't be the burger holes or the side mount holes.
Yeah, and honestly, most of the sites that are sold as Bridgelock, they don't sell you a base.
Right.
Like it has to go through a Mathews.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a dovetail at that point.
Yeah.
Well, there's, the reason for that is that there's patent on Bridgelock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Like that was a silly question.
No.
I
I know. I'm
Because
saying I don't think it's
ours.
a better system. I don't think it's better.
oh, it is.
Better than a Picatinny mount?
I do. I
Okay,
feel
well,
like it is.
we'll tell the people why.
Well, most of the Piccadilly things are an attachment, right? You got to bolt it on the front. I mean, it's
Not
another,
all of them, but most
yeah,
of them are.
Yeah, most
We've
of
got
them
one
are.
or
Not-
two
yeah, there are
companies
some
cut
that-
it into it as
yeah.
opposed to bolted on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, now you've got another. Basically, why not just shoot a dovetail? I mean, you've added another
Additional part
Additional
is
part.
what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, versus direct to the riser, and it's just straight down the center. I mean, so is Piccadilly, but I mean all the other accessories as well. And you're gonna love this this stabilizer V-bar thing. Super cool. Comes right out of the back.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's really nice. And then we've we also have a drop.
I saw that. It looked
stabilizer.
like you could do a
Yeah,
10
there's
degree
an
down.
angle, 10
yeah,
degree.
yeah.
No, 7
7.
degrees.
7 degrees?
7
Okay.
degree down
Yeah, that's
drop
cool.
on the stabilizer. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's new this year.
Yeah,
And that's all
sure.
part of the new riser design as well.
Okay.
Well, and if you want to give a beneficial option to like Bridgelock over pick, because there is one, like pick is fixed to the front, period. Bridgelock is dovetailed with a set screw and in frequently multiple positions. So if you
Right.
wanted to move your sight in and out, you can. Where you can't do that with a pick.
And so like you're torque tuning your sight, and you've got all these different options in and out. Stabilizer wise is huge, because not only are you've got your leverage stuff, so there's so many adjustments you can make because you got all the weight. You can stack your weights, and you can move it in and out. So you're dealing with the length of your stabilizer, as well as the weight of the end of the stabilizer, and you can adjust. I mean the adjustment options are huge.
Yeah, the other thing is storing for the being able to run your stabilizer back into the
To fit
bow.
it into your case.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I know
that was
seems-
a cool thing.
Yeah,
no, I
that
don't
was
disagree.
that was a good feature. I
I
agree.
don't disagree. I do wish that was something that was licensed amongst other brands. Like, because I mean, a Bridgelock sight isn't just a Mathews sight. Everybody can make something that fits in that
Right.
gap. Where your stabilizers, you can't. Like, you can use a Mathews or nothing. And I wish that was something that was still licensed. So there were just other options.
Well, you can still put any stabilizer.
No,
on
I know.
Mathews.
I understand that, just not the Bridgelock style of it, right?
Sure.
To where, and I understand the decision making process and that. I wish it was something that was financially shared as an option, so
Sure.
somebody else could make a stabilizer that incorporates some of the things that you're making. But I get why you did it the way you did it. I'm not disagreeing with it. I wish it was another option, and I'm grateful that the sight incorporation is usable by other sight companies,
Sure.
just not other bow companies.
Well, like I said again, you can for sure put anything on it. I mean, it's got all the standard. It's no different
you can bolt
than
you can bolt
than-
anybody's stabilizer on.
any
You just can't
sight,
use the
any
integration
stabilizer,
features
any
and
V-bar,
yeah.
any
You
of
didn't
that.
physically take away a stabilizer
No.
bushing, so you can
No,
still
no,
bolt
no,
things
no,
onto
yeah,
it.
No.
yeah.
Yeah,
No.
It's just tough as a consumer to say like, okay, if I buy something that's specialized for this bow, I know I will never be able to use it on any other bow that I ever buy unless it's a Mathews. So that's I'm not saying that you guys should change it. I'm just saying from a consumer standpoint, I go Bridgelock.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy a Bridgelock sight because I want the versatility to be able to put it on whatever I want for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And then I'm not going to buy the Bridgelock bars, first of all, because they're crazy expensive. And then, sorry, listen.
We have to play a little devil's advocate over here.
I love Mathews. Yeah. Like I've shot a Mathews consistently probably over the last 10 years. But I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, have you seen this watch? This is your consumer right here.
No, I've spent. I don't mind.
Is it a Timex or a Rolex?
No, it's a Rolex.
This one's not Rolex.
It's something expensive that I don't know.
No, I don't mind spending money on things, but I want it to also be practical. Where I go, okay, I've got versatility out of this. Are the Bridgelock bars better than a carbon bar? Because it's a truss, basically it's an aluminum truss, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're all made in-house, and, that's our machines. Our machining center is designed and manufactured in-house, and, they're not priced beyond where they need to be. I mean, that's not a gouging thing. That's a where they need to be manufactured in USA on those machines. That's the price, It's a little bit like, tell you a quick story about quivers. The most expensive quiver you could buy on the planet Earth was like $19.99.
Oh, I remember.
and we came out with a quiver, and it's like, oh my word, these things are going to have to sell for like $100. And so they're back the first ones.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, well, you know what? We don't, we'll make them. It's a super good quiver. I will argue that that's the best quiver hands down over what was manufactured at the time.
Guaranteed.
But we're just going to, we're just going to sell it for what we have to sell it for. And that's it, And the local retailer, like 40 miles away, come flying through the door of the manufacturing place. And he's like, are you nuts? There's no way. You will sell none of those quivers. I mean, there's no way you will sell that quiver. He said, it's an awfully good quiver. And that's what we make it right here on that CNC machine. That is what it needs to cost. I'm sorry. That's just where we're at. If you don't want it, don't buy it. I'm totally good with that. Stick a quickie quiver on there, call her good. And like by the end of the second year, we were selling a huge percentage of total bows in quivers.
Yeah, and
it is what it is. I mean,
right, I get it.
If you make it, it's like in that Bridgelock stuff, the same way, I believe with all my heart it's the best accessories to that bow, and that's the attachment system. And again, that's why we make it with all those bushings so that you can put anything you want on there. You could take your stuff off your switchback and put it on your ARC, no problem at all. But if you want that stuff, that's the cost. I mean, it's not cheap to make stuff in the USA and cutting on those machines, and we have real high tech, machinery and
well, and you guys are like that stuff, like you're saying, is made in the USA, and there's been a really big push from our end for the last couple of years, where there's been a lot of consumer complaints about companies that do not want stuff. They want as much made here as they can possibly get. So that's a big factor for people. Are you willing to pay more for something manufactured in America?
Yeah.
Go get you some Bridgelock.
I remember when he came out with that quiver and was just like, holy God. But then you bolted it on a bow, stuck quivers in it, and shot it, and went, I have to take my quiver off. Because before, like any quiver you could buy, you had to take your quiver off the bow to fire it because it was so freaking loud that every animal in the county would hear you fire your bow. You could stick that quiver on your bow, put arrows in it, and it was the first time somebody made a quiver that was authentically quiet. Well, and then make your bow louder.
And the new quivers that you guys have, everything they're amazing, super close to the riser.
Yeah.
Like
really
so, you're they're fantastic. So those accessories like are the leg limbs that you guys came out with. Yeah. Those sell bows for y'all. Like that system was phenomenal.
I was turkey hunting, and I was so sick of my bow. I always had holes in my blind from leaning my bow up against the thing with an arrow. Mm-hmm. I was so sick of that. And so I went into the shop, and I was in there, and I hacksaw grinder kind of deal, and I cobbled together this thing that looked like a turkey foot, and it snapped on the cup so you could pick your bow up and shoot it without losing any accuracy whatsoever. And I made this thing, and I set it on Mark's desk, and I'm like, we need to do something like this, dude. And
you were the guy.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you. For real. That's legit because it's spread throughout. Like there's everybody's trying to figure out how to get it done, and it's for a consumer, it's huge.
Well, the engineers, they took it and they ran with it they spent a year developing it and just making it to what it is today. It's amazing. That's a cool little part. Just snaps on there.
It's great.
Well, and it's one of the only ones that's actually easy to take on, easy to put on, easy to take off. Doesn't affect your bow at all while shooting with it. And it only attaches to the limb pocket.
And it's easy to store as well.
Yeah,
because you fold it
folds
totally
down
flat.
small. You can throw it in your
Keeps
case.
your cam out of the dirt.
Keeps your cam out of the dirt. Like once again, the first one to really do it. I mean, yes, there were little bipod thingies that were hokey as all get out, but the first one to really make a truly functioning product that probably hasn't been made better since then. Like everyone's trying to mimic something, and they've all got their own little feature type thing. It's still kind of the best functioning one.
Yeah.
From the word go. You should have got credit for that to some degree financially. Why wasn't that patented? Or there probably is some kind of a patent, and then they're working some different way around it. But man, I mean,
I just wanted one. I just wanted one
I'm
for my
like that,
turkey.
I'm like that too. I'm like, would somebody please make this?
Right.
Like,
I just wanted it. But a $2 per royalty might be nice.
My titanium insert.
Yes.
I just want somebody to make it. I call 4 different companies. Would you please make this? Like, there's a market for this. No one's going to pay that. I'm like, all right, fine. And some dude randomly reached out to me that had a machine shop. It's like, I can make that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, cool. Make me some. Played with them, tried them. I was like, all right, how much is like 1,000 of these? Like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. And I tried it and they all sold. But I mean, it was that same thing. It's like, I just want this.
Right.
I don't care about the monetary part of it. That was never any intention. But like that individual thing, when I think it was at least a year to 2 years of that first induction of something that we would just leave it on a bow, like when people were test firing it and you just set it on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
That frequently sold that product. Just that feature.
When you doll up a Mathews, you take an ARC or a Lift X.
Yeah.
You put the limb legs on it. You put the low pro quiver on it. You put the bridge lock stabilizers in it. You put a bridge lock sight on it. And you put a bridge lock type rest on it, the UltraView. And set it on the counter at a trade show. That thing looks awesome.
It does
it really does.
It does.
It does. And people walk by and they're like, "Oh, I want that."
Right?
Just like that.
Just like that.
You definitely nail it. You really do. And there's not another brand that people come in asking for than you by a long shot. And I bet you it's at least 5 to 1 of someone walking in and saying, "Do you have this?" Or "I'm looking for this." It's minimum 5 to 1. I have 8 brands in here. It's minimum 5 to 1. It's probably more like 10 to 1. I'm just not trying to be a dick. Like it is
10 to 1.
I really think so. Like the number of people that already are looking for that, and it's because of what you guys have done this whole time, on top of marketing. But you're making things that make sense to the average person's needs.
Well, like I said from the beginning, we just want to build. Our goal from the very beginning was we want to build the best. We're just going to research, look at everything. We want to build the best. We're driven to. Matt's super competitive. He's crazy competitive in a super good way.
Yeah.
He's the best guy. I mean, he's awesome. And but like in the shop, I mean, we'd be working on something and something would be going on. And he'd look at me and give me the lazy eye and be like, "All right, let's go." And so like there was competition all the time. Anything we were doing, there's competition.
Of course,
BB guns, arrows, whatever. I mean, he's
matter. Still
really
gotta
competitive.
do it. Yeah.
So when it comes to engineering and design, he's the same way. Super competitive. I mean, in competitive with himself. I mean, he good enough just isn't a thing. I mean, if he's done. There was one bow model that was the Ultra 2, or the UltraView, or the Ultramax. The Ultramax.
Yeah.
When the Ultramax came out, it was the same year. So like we had catalogs, we had the aluminum bought. There was a lot of billets back then, so we had the aluminum bought. We had the catalog. We're 3 weeks from launch, and he's like, "Dude, I'm pulling the plug." And I said, "You're doing what?" He's like, "I got something better. I got something better. I know that's a good bow. It shoots amazing. It got great speed and all that stuff." But we had the MQ1. Remember the MQ1?
Oh, dude.
Benchmark.
That was a big shift.
Benchmark.
I mean, up until then, Like you guys were growing and you were a name that people asked about and constantly looked about and that kind of thing. When you came out with the MQ1, everybody had to have that. Like it really was. It was like a instantaneous shift.
We sold Ultra Maxes. We sold them.
Oh yeah.
We included it in the line, but it was a second tier bow.
Yeah.
The flagship became the MQ1. We basically scrapped everything right before launch, switched gears, and jumped all over the MQ1.
First real long riser parallel limbo made.
Yeah.
Authentically. Like
Wow.
everything.
They gradually.
They did. It was. You could tell it was a transitional thing. Like you could tell he was probably playing in the back room that nobody saw. He went, what happens if I lay these bastards over like that? And then went, whoa. We need to work our way that direction.
Yeah, we
But
had to.
we had to get there.
gradually get there.
Right.
Yeah.
But that transitional change, once again, you went single cam forcing everyone to change. That made everybody change.
Yep.
And bows went from sound like a 22 going off, and like if you opened your hand up, it would shoot down the range.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden it stayed in your hand and it got really quiet really quick. So that's another massive inline innovation that you can't go out and look at anything out there today and not see that.
Oh yeah.
That was them 100%.
You know, at the ATA show, I walked down the aisle, and it's like we paved a lot of roads that people drive on.
You did such a good job with that bow that PSC completely copied it the next year. Like
The
Durango. Dude, I got the first one of those in and took it apart, and you could interchange the parts. Like you could take an MQ1 and grab a Durango limb pocket and put it on an MQ1 and then put the Mathews limb back on it and still worked.
Oh,
Dude,
no.
Like it was a carbon copy.
It was worse than that. There was two, because there was a Carrera same year, the PSC Carrera and the Z Max.
Yeah, but they still had their limb on the Carrera.
But you could
It
pound
did,
a nail
like, yeah.
in the wall, and you could hang it.
They're identical.
I believe it was a Z Max, and you could hang.
Yes.
And you
Yeah, the
couldn't even
Carrera
see it.
was a Z-Max riser cut, but it still used their molded limb.
Yeah.
Like the Durango was
Carbon copy.
was your limb. I was just like, this comes out and I went, oh man, this can't last very long. Like there's
There's
gotta
going to be
be
some
You
letters
could
going
hang
back
them on
and
a
forth here.
nail, and you couldn't see the
100%.
back one, or you could flip them over, and you couldn't see the
Oh,
back
my
one.
100%
gosh,
no
that's
different. It was like, that was the funniest year I can remember, actually. It was just blatant. Like, and hey, compliment. We're clearly losing here. Let's just make it like it. And I don't know what that stemmed from, if it was trying to get in a lawsuit with you to see what would happen. But it was a blatant. I've never seen anything that blatant in bows outside of Alibaba or whatever, San Lita, in my life. Period. It was so much exactly the same thing. It was wild.
That is an interesting
they say
That bow
strategy.
didn't last
form of
very long.
flattery.
That bow got pulled pretty quick too. They redid it or something and made it look drastically different.
Yeah.
But it was they still call it a Durango or Durango something.
The fact that you could interchange parts on it is
I've never
bananas.
had that. I've never been able to take somebody else's and just freely just doot, 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 like holy shit.
Yeah, that's great.
This is a copy.
I always loved Pete. You knew exactly where you stand with Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll let you know. He was great. He was awesome.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was
such a
that
good
was a
time.
classic situation there. Yeah, there was a few,
turn the record
there
off
was
so
a
I can
few
ask him what really happened
conversations.
there.
Well, listen, we've gone plenty long.
Plenty long.
Do you have any other questions about the bow? Any other new accessories? Any other new things that people need to know about this
It
year?
was just the stabilizer change from what I heard, and I didn't hear of any other accessory changes.
Yeah, no real major accessory changes other than mod. And you're going to want to get those mods in.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say,
just,
are you going to actually have those, or is that going to be like
Is that
a
gonna be
really
like it was
big
last
long
year?
Yeah,
delay?
we will.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
It'll
Yeah,
be-
no, I don't doubt it, because I mean, yeah, we're dealing with advertised speeds and published speeds and all that kind of stuff. But then when a guy goes and actually shoots it and he's like, okay, I want this bow. Can I try that mod? And they go, oh,
And even the speed difference, I'm not going to give you a speed. I'm not going to tell you the amount different, because it does, It's slower, no question, because we just are not storing the energy.
Yeah.
But man, what an experience. I mean, they shoot so fun and so good. And it's not crazy slower. It's just,
and
not as fast.
most brands that offer a module offer a smoother module. I'm honestly surprised it took as long. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful you didn't bombard me with 360 modules in the first year of a design of something. But
well, do you remember the EZ7?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we did it before with the EZ7. We had the Z7 and the Z7 Extreme and stuff. Then we did a boat called an EZ7. It was just silky smooth. And then there was another one, Hyperlight was really smooth like that. Like
Hyperlight was real smooth.
We're like, you know what? Let's not chase speed. Let's just make the best shooting experience that you can ever have with a bow. And that was where we were with that. It was very smooth.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The nice thing about the mods is people can spend whatever $60. I don't know what you guys are. Is it 60? Spend $60 and get a bit of a different shooting experience to try things.
Yeah,
and I get it on the mod side why you would say
no reason that's not compatible back to the phase or whenever you started that module set. Which bow was it that module, or is it lift, right?
Oh, the
mods
switch weight.
Yeah, that specific module that coincides. It goes back to lift X now.
Yeah.
And ARC.
Yep.
So those are all still backwards compatible.
Yep.
Okay. So hey, if you're listening to this and you have a lift and lift X and want to try a different shooting experience,
well,
they make you something a little smoother.
Somebody will, they'll be online and they'll be talking, oh man, I just pulled the lift X and it felt like it fell off a wall, kind of thing. And to them, like I was talking about earlier, the muscle group, it just didn't work. And like for that person, it just like felt, and it feels different for each of us. It just does. How you're used to, how much you've shot, how much your back is built up, and how experienced you are with a draw. It just feels different for different people. And I hear that. I'll get a comment like, "Oh man, it felt like it dropped off a cliff," kind of deal. I mean, like, try the 80% mods, and they're like, "What?" And it's a total different experience. It's totally different. I mean, it's the same exact bow.
Massive difference.
I mean, they're basically exactly the same speed or really, really close. And huge difference between the two mods.
100%.
So like at the trailer when we're switching mods out all day long and all that stuff, I'll jump back and forth and somebody will, say, oh, man, it drops off kind of hard. And it's like, oh, wait. You switch out and it's like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So,
awesome. It's nice to have options.
No, for sure.
Just makes me carry more stuff. That's okay. I'll do it.
Also makes you sell more stuff.
Long run, yeah, that's the intent.
Where people can get it online at podiumarcher.com using discount code BMAC for 10%
Really?
off.
Oh, you greedy bastard.
Thanks. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you coming down.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you, Joel. That was great. I appreciate it.
Thank you for all you do.